I have terrible, terrible news to start off this video today. As you guys know, or you may not know, I like to do a lot of research before my videos, get some good statistics to share with you to formulate these videos and these stories. Unfortunately, today I go through the entire process, get the script, get my notes in my trusty notepad going down. If you know, you know. And I press record and I'm good to go. And my shirt's gone. What is going on, people? Welcome back into the Joner Fat Cat channel. I hope you are doing well. I know I am definitely trending in the right direction because we are back with some championship football this upcoming weekend. If my voice sounds a little hoarse, it is because I went to a Buffalo Bills football tailgate yesterday. Video coming on that later this week.
We got scammed.
I think they cheated, realistically. If you know about the whole camera debacle, we were able to get a replacement, so that was huge. We were able to vlog the entire thing yesterday. It was a crazy day. Keep an eye out for that. Very much still recovering. Now, today we are going to focus on and do a match preview of Coventry versus West Brom at the CBS. 12:30 kickoff, 7:30 for me, November 22nd, 2025. I will give my prediction at the end, and I will just lay out a couple things that you should know, whether you're on the Coventry or the West Brom side. So let's get into it. If you do not know who I am, my name is Joner Fat Cat. I make EFL Championship content. Please subscribe if you're new. If you're a returning viewer and you're not subscribed, please hit that button for me. Can we get 70 likes on this video? Let's go for 70 on this one. As always, get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your prediction. If you get the right prediction, you know what I'll give you? This pen. If you get the prediction right, you get this pen from me. Anyways, let's get into it. So we've got Coventry City top of the table. As we obviously know, West Brom sit down at 14th with 21 points on the season. They've actually conceded more than they've scored. I know scoring has been a big difficulty for them through the first 1/3 of the EFL Championship season. And you can see by their recent form, they're not on the best run of fixtures right now. They are 20th in the league in goals scored, 20th in XG. So they're getting a good return on what they are scoring. 22nd in big chances, 15th in crosses per match, 14th in touches in the opposition box. Offensively, on the attacking side, they are not impressing compared to what they, were expected to do. They have a lot of good players. We'll get into specifics endangerment on the team. Now, on the defensive side, they've been okay. They haven't been that good. Metrically, they're not the most sound, but they do have the 5th least XG conceded this season. And on top of that, they only have 1 clean sheet in the last 7 matches. So it hasn't exactly been the best run of fixtures for West Brom. And for a team that, was slated to be in the top 10 and last season missed the playoffs by just 4 points. If one result goes another way, then they would have potentially been in the playoffs. I know they drew 0-0 in the second to last game of the season against Cardiff, who were already relegated. So maybe that goes one way or the other. Then they could have made it to the playoffs. So what's changed this season? So first player we're going to highlight is the left winger, Mikey Johnston, who is probably one of their biggest dangermen on the team. Coming down that left side, he looked really active against Oxford, playing with a little bit of confidence as they got that early lead in that game. He's got 4 assists and 2 goals on the season. Nothing to write home about, but he's probably one of their biggest danger men. Next, you've got their top scorer from the 10 is Isaac Price. Playing down the middle, he started the season on an absolute tear, tapered off a little bit, and as you can see, here and there, he's getting on the goal and assist sheet. And to be completely honest with you guys, there's not much more in the attacking side to write home about, and I think that's probably one of the biggest issues is having that man in the middle that has confidence and will strike fear into center backs and demand, 2 defenders to track him at all times. So they've got Josh Maja. He's one of their 3 strikers. He only has 1 goal this season in 4 starts, but 13 appearances. Secondly, they've got Carlin Grant, who, is probably just a bench player. He gets some appearances. As of recently, he's been playing a little bit more, but he hasn't been able to do much with it. No goals or assists on the season. Lastly, we'll talk about Hegebo, who's definitely been their best striker this season. Still a bit underwhelming, though. 15 matches, 11 starts, 2 goals, 2 assists. So that's probably one of their biggest issues is being able to put the ball in the net from the striker position. Hence why they are such low scoring games, tight games where they're losing 1-0, they're winning 1-0. They beat Norwich City 1-0. However, West Brom only have 3 wins in their last 11, which definitely explains to you why they're sitting 14th in the table. Another bit of an alarming stat that since October 1st, there's only been 2 goals from the striker position. So the goals have been coming from the likes of Isaac Price, Mikey Johnston. Jed Wallace has a goal, but he is injured. He may be back for the Coventry game. Nat Phillips from the center back position has a goal himself. So scoring has definitely been their biggest issue. They're definitely playing with a lack of confidence. Another interesting piece of info that I discovered during my analysis is that they love a shot from outside the box. So they've got a couple players whose Average shot target is well over 20 yards. So Alex Moat from the midfield, who we're going to talk about in a minute, is 24 yards per shot. Mikey Johnson's 22 yards per shot. And then Wallace, the defender, is also 22 yards per shot. So keep an eye out for. You never know when they're going to let one loose and maybe catch us off guard. So definitely something that Coventry and Rushworth and the back line need to prepare for. I know that they are very good at blocking shots. They have a lot of really critical blocks, especially in that Stoke City game. But just something to keep an eye out, because obviously if they're not able to create good chance in the box, they are going to be a little bit more risky and try to smash one from deep. Now, play style wise, one thing that West Brom are definitely going to do is they are going to try and hold possession. They sit just a little bit above 50% this season, and we tend to see that with teams that are struggling. They like to hold on to the ball. They like to dominate possession, and it just becomes a little bit static because they have a difficult time getting into dangerous positions. As for players that are impactful in those areas, so we're going to go to the midfield. We're going to look at Alex Moat. He's got 75 progressive passes, which is 20 more than second place on the team, which is Callum Styles from the left back position. As for touches and passes, they have the third highest pass accuracy in the championship, which is a very commendable stat. And on top of that, to even just further enforce how good they are passing as a team, they actually have the highest passing accuracy as well. So that's no fake stat there where, they may have the highest passing accuracy, but they might have the 7th or 8th most passes attempted. They like to control possession, and they are very good at it. They are one of 4 teams in the entire championship that have completed over 50% of their long balls, so they are not scared to try that, especially from the left back position. As we said, Callum Styles has the second most progressive passes on the team with 55. Now, the stat that would be a little bit of concern for me from a West Brom side is that they're actually middle of the pack in total progressive passes on the season. So you definitely don't want to see a team that has attempted the most passes, has the highest passing accuracy, not attempt a lot of progressive passes, because that just shows that their play style can get very static and stale at times. So I think that that's something we may see in this game when they get the chance to dominate possession, because as we know, Coventry don't necessarily care too much about holding possession in games. At the CBS, it could be a little bit of a different story. They're going to have their work cut out for them on the road, first game back from international break. However, this could be a good time to play Coventry City. And I don't necessarily know if there's ever a good time to play the league leaders with, 39 goals scored on the year. But let's look at the 2 games after international breaks this season. So first one is Coventry versus Norwich City. That was that really frustrating one where Haji was able to get that goal in extra time with a 1-1 draw. And then technically this is an international break, but this is the first game of the year, and we drew Hull City 0-0, which, now doesn't look like that crazy of a result considering Hull are in the top 6. But what I'm trying to say is it's definitely typical for Cov to sometimes come out flat after those breaks of play. Because as we know, when this team is good, they're good. We saw 12 goals in 2 games at the beginning of the season against QPR and Derby. We saw 8 goals in the Millwall stretch. I believe it was either 3 against Birmingham City, 4 against Millwall, 7-goal stretch, not 8, sorry. When their confidence is high, it's high, and they play as if they are, a league above everyone else. So we'll be interested to see how they come out firing there. Could be getting Jack Radoni back. That would be a huge boost for Cov. Let's go with my lineup right now. So here's my projected lineup for this game, and I don't think this is really coming as a surprise to anyone, really. You got Grimes and Torp as a double pivot in the midfield. Brandon Thomas Asante, last game against Stoke, he was playing as a striker with Haji Wright. It was essentially a 4-2-4. I didn't like the way that played out, because a lot of the time, for some reason, the game just tend to be played down that left-hand side, and instead of BTA being the one to get on the ball in the midfield to bridge that defense to the attack, because he was over here, Haji Wright was dropping in. And we know what Haji Wright is like on the ball. That's not his specialty. We've talked about it, in the Fire and Ice video, which, by the way, if you haven't gone and seen that, go back and look at it. I will link it at the end of this video. We talk about Haji Wright and what's been going on with him. But yeah, for the most part, I would like a little 4-3-3 action. Probably turns into a 4-2-1-3 with BTA basically playing as a shadow striker. Radoni is likely going to be on the bench for this game. We got to be real with ourselves here. As much as we would love for Radoni to start, he's not going to be fit. I could understand if maybe they want to flop these the other way and maybe give Radoni 20 minutes at the beginning. If he could stretch to 45, maybe you start him, play him for the first half, then bring in BTA. But it's hard to drop any of these players right now. And it's going to be really interesting to see that positional battle and see how things play out, because obviously we expect eventually Radoni will retake his rightful position at the number 10. And then there's 4 players for 3 positions. Really, it probably is going to become BTA going back out on the wing. So who is he going to replace, or is he going to go to the bench? So it'll be really interesting to see what happens there. But that is a story for another day. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. We also know that Dovin is on his way back probably in 2026. Positional battle wise elsewhere, I wouldn't really say there's much. I mean, Wolfie is doing his best to try and get in, but he did play in that Wrexham game and he did not look the best. He definitely looked like he lost a little bit of a step, and that's totally fair and it's expected considering the fact that he has just not been playing a lot of football. But as the FA Cup rolls around, there'll be more opportunities for him to get minutes, so he'll definitely come into his own there. So that gets us to the prediction. So I'm going to give you a little rundown of how I think the game is going to go, and I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a tough one. West Brom just got that big win over Oxford, really big confidence win, probably saved their manager's job, at least for the time being. Coventry don't come back from international breaks at their top form. It's hard to do. It's just how they are. I feel like that's their blueprint. We saw it against Hull. We saw it against Norwich City. But I feel that West Brom are a team that can get very easily frustrated. This is kind of giving me QPR vibes, where earlier in the season they were a little bit frustrated with how things were going, and they go to, a place that is slowly turning into a fortress, the CBS. Obviously, Cov have not lost there this season, and if Cov can get an early goal, I think they might run away with it. The question is, will they get that early goal? I don't know if I do see it happening, but I do see a Coventry City win in this game. I'm going to go with a clean sheet. I'm actually going to go with a 2-0. What I think is going to happen here is I think Cov are going to get a goal late in the first half, and then I think as the game starts to stretch out and go on and West Brom have to start throwing themselves forward, that is when they will bag that second goal later in the game. Could we see a Jack Rodoni goal late in the second half of this game? That's going to be my little prediction. So that is going to be all for today. We talked about West Brom's side. We talked about Coventry's side. We gave our lineup. I'm not educated enough to make a guess on what West Brom's lineup looks like. I know George Campbell is out from injury, so we'll see if he can make it back in time. But that is going to be all for today. Please let me know what you agree, what you disagree with down in the comments. Again, 70 likes on this video. That would be awesome. I appreciate you all. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe more importantly. If you didn't enjoy it, don't subscribe. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the support. Cannot wait to be in England and meet you all next year. And peace.